It was never going to be a title match, and he refused to work with me because it was not a title match. And I'm going, yeah, you forget that I remember the photo shoot we did when we're holding the belt, you idiot. So, I mean, he was just a liar that, you know, and Vince, you know, wasn't always the most honest guy in the world either, but the two of them were kind of prophetic liars at the time. That's when I started to lose all my respect for Vince as a guy that wasn't necessarily good for his word. And Hogan was, you know, he just did not want to work with me, didn't want to pass the torch back to me, and we should have wrestled at SummerSlam because it would have been the best match he ever had. But it's too bad it didn't happen, and it certainly wasn't what I had hoped for.
I mean, there is so much to touch on, but one more recent thing I'd like to ask you your thoughts on is AEW, and that's in the Owen Cup, as it's called, the tournament. Any thoughts on that? Are you looking forward to keeping an eye on that? Any chance you may be involved in that? Obviously, you've worked with AEW before, for the first pay-per-view.
You know, I'm happy for anything that helps remember or keeps Owen's memory alive. Like anything that makes the wrestling fans happy and sort of remember Owen, and it's good. At the same time, I'm very respectful of what they're trying to do, and I think it's important to me that's really the important part, is that we remember Owen. And you know, I feel, you know, I can only say so much about it, but I know that what happened with Owen was an accident. You know, it wasn't always clear that it was an accident, but it's been clear to me for a number of years that it was an accident. So I don't hold any, you know, deep-set grudge against WWE or you know, the people involved and Vince and whatever. It's like, it was a horrible accident, a horrible idea, and it's just a real shame that it ever happened. But you know, I think Owen. When I think of Owen, I think of WWE, and that's where his great memories were. So the idea that, you know, if you're a WWE guy, you don't get to remember Owen or something, doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So I'm glad, you know, AEW is doing something with him, but I'm sort of torn between the two. I'm happy to see two wrestling companies doing well. I hope AEW continues and has the great success they're showing right now. And at the same time, you know, my whole history is with WWE, so I don't want to minimize my own great career and all that. And I think I'm a little bit reluctant to get on board with Owen's widow, and she's kind of alienated herself from me and most of my family, and has sort of had a sort of hard-on for wrestling in general. I find it kind of hypocritical that she's suddenly on board with AEW, and you know, I just feel like she, you know, my family, like when Owen's passing happened, there was a couple of bad eggs in the family that kind of worked against Martha, and it was really unfortunate that happened. And I was always, right to the very end, very supportive of Martha, but I always felt that after she got her settlement that she was pretty hard on my mom and my dad and everyone else in the family that had nothing to do with what happened with a couple of the bad eggs in my family, like my sister Ellie and my sister Diana. Totally worked against Martha, and I think that's fair for her to be angry about that, but I don't think it's fair for her to be angry at everybody else in the family. And I thought she was especially hard on my mom and dad when they went through so much. You know, I think Martha's always made one mistake, that she always thought that she was the only one that lost anyone that day, when it's like, you know, we all lost somebody that day, and we all have, you know, these ties to wrestling, and You know, I just always wished that, you know, if Martha had just singled out the ones that she was angry with, that would have been better, but not to single out the whole family. She's always said that Owen was a white sheep that came from a black sheep family or something like that, or, you know, and that she's cut off ties with everybody in the whole family, which is okay if that's what you want, cut the whole ties off of the whole family, but I just think that, for me personally, that, you know, she painted the whole family with the same brush, and that doesn't really fair, and I hold that to her.
In terms of you yourself with Owen in the ring, you had one of the, to me, in my lifetime, one of the great rivalries throughout, well, the tail end of '93 all the way through 1994. Was there any serious talk then of you dropping the title to Owen at any point?
I don't think so. It would have been something I would have been happy to do. In those days, I think I was just happy to get the title, period. You know, there's always a lot of things, like when I won the title, they told me, Vince McMahon had told me that I would be champion for a long time. Like they're talking like maybe 7 or 8 or 9 years being champion. And they wanted to keep the belt on me long term. Like the old days, like when guys like Bruno and Bob Backlund got the title, they said, you're just gonna hold the championship for a long time. You don't have to worry about your position, and you don't have to worry about anything. You're like totally the company guy now for the next, we're looking like long term. Like, so it was always reassuring, and then of course 3 months later they took the title away from me, which is where you get this sort of, you never know what's going to happen. You know, you never, as relaxed and confident as you can be about something, you just never know when they're going to pull the rug out from underneath you. And so, I mean, I would love to have thought about dropping the title to certain guys, but whenever I lost the title, I was always so, because the thing that, it's not so clear today, because we have these contracts and everything today, but back in when I won the title, the highest paid wrestler on the card was the guy that was the champion. It was the highest paid guy in the company. And so when you win the title, it becomes very real. Like the money is very real, and suddenly you're making more money than you ever made in your career before. And then when they walk in and go, oh, we're going to make Yokozuna the champion, or the Hulk Hogan's going to take the belt, or whatever it is. It's like people say is wrestling real. It's like, yeah, it becomes really real, really fast. Like, especially when you're going, I know I'm pulling the wagon here. I'm not, and I'm at the front of the wagon and I'm pulling it the hardest. And you're going to hand, my spot to Hulk Hogan, who's already been here and done now all that. And it's very frustrating for you to lose your position to a guy that then he drops the belt to Yokozuna, and it's like, so you finally kind of going to yourself, like, how did I get pushed out of the circle? And, when things go, that's what I always thought I was in WWE, I was the utility guy. When things started to go, they was like, oh, quick, get Bret Hart again, It's like, I was always the guy that stopped it from going down. And I say that like when I first won the title, and then when basically I lost the belt to Yokozuna, who lost it to Hulk Hogan in about 5 seconds in the most stupidest finish, maybe WCW style ending that WWE ever did. But and then after Hulk Hogan, it was like they went painted over the pink and white and black, and then painted over with red and yellow, and it's like 5 months later, the pink and white and black is back up. It's the strongest color again, and it's like quick, Lex Luger, red, white, and blue, it's like that. And it's like that didn't work either. And all of a sudden, it's pink and black again. And it's like quick, Bret Hart again, and then they put me back in, and then it's like quick, he's gonna lose to Kevin Nash, and it's the black and silver, and it's the Kevin Nash show. And lo and behold, when he fails as champion, and it's like quick, get Bret Hart again, and then it was like Shawn Michaels. Which Shawn, I think, was a great wrestler, he was a great talent. And so Sean was the kind of the guy that, you know, took the torch from there, which was always, I never had a problem with that. I was always trying to, what I did with Sean was try to spark our storyline into people thinking we really hated each other. And unfortunately, it kind of turned into we really hated each other. But you know, we would have drawn money if you'd done everything I had sort of laid the groundwork for. You know, the truth is we would have done big business together, and it's just too bad that we ended up with such hard feelings at the time.
I've got a million questions for you, Bret, but it's all right, we open it up to you guys. Have you got any